Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this HJ Goes Live with me, Jane Lewisaw, and supported by L'Oréal Professional Products Division. And we have the lovely Monica Teodoro. Good morning, Monica.
Morning, Jane. Morning, everybody. How are you?
So good to see. All right, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. It's so exciting to be here this morning.
What a great way to start my week. I was very much looking forward to this. So firstly, we need to tell the people that are watching that don't know, huge congratulations on the new role. Big role for you. First in the group globally, I believe. So you are now L'Oréal Professional Products Division, UK and Ireland, General Manager for Education and Professional Development. Am I right?
It sounds like a mouthful, but yes, you're right.
But it is right. It is right. Good. I've been practicing that all morning. I was like, I'm going to get this. I'm going to nail it. I'm going to nail it. So let's actually, before we start talking about the salon support, the role very much that you will be doing post-COVID, fingers crossed, as soon as that may be, is very much about care, education and nurture for the industry as a whole, isn't it? Across all of the brands. But actually, I know you very much have a wider view than that, and it is an industry view, not just an LPPD view. So just give people a little bit of insight into what you're going to be doing.
Sure. So I think it all comes about, when we look at our industry and what we've been able to achieve for so many years, we looked at the importance of the evolution of the professional beauty and what does this evolution of professional beauty mean? And looking at what we call today a O+O, a online offline model, how can we, in a more dynamic way, raise the standards of our industry, further professionalize and send a message with the right levels of career progression, with education at the heart of everything that we do. And I think, can I just state right now, there's nothing good about COVID, but if COVID taught us one thing is we will forever change the way we work. And I think if nothing else, what came out of this horrible momentum that everybody has to go through is the importance of the hairdresser and really elevating the standards of the expertise of that individual. And how can we take that to new frontiers?
Yeah, I would agree. I have to say, I think the only positive I can think of when you is that exact thing, that actually in the first lockdown, particularly, there wasn't a news channel, there wasn't a national newspaper or a magazine that wasn't talking about the importance of the beauty sector, but particularly the hairdressing sector. And not in a flippant way, which is often how it's described. It wasn't just about how it makes you look better. It was that real sense of well-being and the feel-good factor that we all get when we've been to a salon, and actually that hairdressers instill in their clients day in, day out.
I completely agree with you. And I think we have a unique opportunity to truly elevate professional expertise and really have the public, for those that might not know us so well, truly recognize what this industry brings to the marketplace and how it's not about, only looking good, but making people feel better and really transforming people's lives.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. And actually, we all have a duty, I think, to garner that kind of momentum and keep it going, because we all work and want the industry to be recognized for the fantastic professional industry that it is, and also the great career opportunities that you can have in hairdressing. There are no limits other than, I think, your own imagination and willingness to learn and put yourself forward, and you know what, and to fall and to pick yourself up and learn a bit more and carry on. That's the only thing that I think can stop people. There is nothing to do with size, gender, race, anything. Hairdressing is open to everybody, and the opportunities are there for everybody.
Yeah, and it's inclusive and it's diverse, and for so long people have, for the wrong reasons, thought of us in sometimes not such a positive way. And really seeing the reassurance, the role that individual plays in someone's life, it's so critical. So we have a unique opportunity to forever change how we are perceived in the marketplace.
And I don't ever, I mean, the thing that upsets me the most is when I hear someone say, oh, I'm just a hairdresser.
No.
We're never, ever just a hairdresser.
Just a hairdresser.
It's so much more than that. It's like saying, oh, I'm just a journalist. Well, I am just a journalist, but I think the role is more than that. And for hairdressing, it couldn't be further away from the truth.
Absolutely. So hopefully we can use this, huge opportunity, this big voice in the marketplace to really elevate and make our image even more dynamic than what already is,
So we know, but I'm going to tell everybody that's watching, I know, if you cut you in half, you breathe hairdressing. You are hugely passionate about hairdressing in the industry, and that we get the right training to people, it's accessible to everybody, and that actually as an industry, and we have been suffering from lack of numbers recently, as in new recruits coming into the industry. It's attracting the right people and enough of them so that we can continue to grow and expand. So your new role, I'm imagining, is going to encompass a lot of that kind of work going forward.
Yeah, I think we have, as a group, as an industry, and, certainly our brands are big voices for that, but I think all the voices of the industry are big voices for that. We have a real opportunity to almost like reset, restart, rebuild, and really shape and future-proof what our industry will look like, and career progression and career paths and clarity of the business of education plays a critical role into that. There's a great quote by Nelson Mandela that says, "I never win or lose, I either win or I learn." And it's that concept of continuous learning that is one that has to be embedded in everything that we do.
No, it's brilliant. And so you have, as a group, you've issued support guides, which I say are super helpful. Now, I know we've got them on HJI's platform.
Yes, you do.
We've done them for all of the nations, but people can people access them on your Access channel too?
Absolutely. It's completely free and complimentary to anyone. And I think what we've done is, you had the guide the first time around, and thank you so much for, spreading the message and spreading the love, like we like to talk about it. I think what we've done the second time around is updated alongside, the government guidelines, as you know, but really created new bite-sized information following the feedback. The importance of reassuring and reinforcing the health and safety and the protocols go equally hand in hand with the importance of, the communications. How do you speak to your customer? How do you truly listen to your customer? The importance of virtual consultation, not having your door open shouldn't be a barrier to continue to connect with the individuals in your community. The importance of click and collect. And a particular movement that I'm very proud of is the movement that we're seeing in the marketplace of supporting the local. I think as hairdressers in an industry, we understand more than many the importance of, when there is a hairdresser in the high street, how that elevates and creates a sense of community. So there are lots of elements within that in bite-sized form that anyone is free to just go and pick on the points that are relevant to them.
Well, I believe that salons are absolutely the heartbeat of our high streets. But let's go back to the beginning, because there's lots of points there and I want to pick up on all of them. I know you ran some research, and it was 95% of customers surveyed or clients surveyed felt it was absolutely safe when they returned to the salon. And the same number felt that the protocols around hygiene and cleanliness were also there. I mean, I think it's true to say that salons have always been a clean environment. The guys are working in, they've not been wearing PPE like they have to wear it now. And my God, my hat's off and respect to every hairdresser that's wearing that day in, day out. I mean, you can't underestimate how hard that must be. But they have absolutely adapted, but they were clean environments anyway. They were always using, all the tools were clean, all that kind of stuff. So you talked about reinforcing the message. How would you suggest salons do that?
I think, we're big on doing consumer insights and truly understanding from the consumer, from our community, what do they think? And you're right, 94%, 95%. I mean, people felt reassured and safe when they were within the environments. But whilst for us has become a new norm and the capacity to adapt was fabulous, we must not underestimate that there are people out there that are still afraid or uncertain. And by reassuring that, not only are you reassuring to, my standards have always been very high and they remain very high if you're an existing customer, but you're opening the opportunity for those people that are not so sure or have chosen to maybe not come in the first round to you, that it's okay to do so. And reinforce that message of, as professionals, we continue to maintain a standard, because the reality of it, Jane, is unfortunately, not all the businesses in the high street are complying to the same level. So what we don't want to do is give the wrong impression that we're not doing it when we've been doing it from day one.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, and that's so true, because we were having this conversation offline, but I feel super safe when I go into a salon, but you go into other environments and there's just not that care, there's not that cleanliness, they haven't followed the same stringent protocols. And I think it amazes me that salons not amazes me, they've adapted so well, because they always would, but actually I think there was research that came out, you probably saw not last week, about how low the transmission risk is in salon.
Exactly.
And we need to keep reinforcing that. So would you suggest that, how would you suggest a salon owner or a freelance stylist does that? I mean, obviously using social channels, but actually what would you suggest?
I think use your voice. I mean, our community, our hairdressers have become professional advocates of our industry. If they log on to access within the protocols, other things that we have done following feedback of so many of our clients is created posts. They're ready-made assets. Anyone can have access to it. And the whole point is to spread the love, spread the information. You can just literally download. There's a blurb. If you want, feel free to write what feels closer to your heart, but there's a blurb there to guide and reassure you, in order for you to reassure your clients. So anyone can make use of it.
Which is amazing that you've opened it to everybody. I know from talking to you also that during lockdown, Colour Keys, which is your kind of entry level training on colour, that was hugely popular. Do you think that was people wanting to refresh, just remind themselves, or?
I think it was a bit of both. I think, when we first went on first lockdown, there was those first 8 days of what's happening. And then suddenly people are like, right, what we do know is we're all in the same sea,
Yeah.
We might be in different boats and look at things differently, but we all were within the same circumstance. So a lot of people took the opportunity either to start, to refresh, to rebuild their expertise. And, maybe would have taken us in a traditional world 3 to 4 years to educate a certain level of population when people want to start or refresh.
Yeah.
Suddenly we had over 17,000 people complete Colour Keys 1, color fundamental education, once again showing that a hairdresser never stops learning, and the more they learn and they refresh, the better they can cater and consult and provide a bespoke service to their clients.
No, it's brilliant.
Very exciting.
Yeah, no, it is really exciting. And I know you personally have always been on a mission that we need to give education to everybody, regardless of where they are, location wise, where they are in their career, or regardless of what money they have accessible to do that training. It's important that we work as one industry. And I think actually, hopefully all the manufacturers are in agreement with that. We need to upskill the hairdressers we currently have and keep them at the top of their game, but also help attract new and the new starters effectively to get access to the right training and learning.
Absolutely. And I think it's something, when we look not at ourselves only as brands, but as part of a big community, I think the industry now more than ever is pushing for the importance of re-educating, being informed, sharing information. Don't be afraid to share information, because the more we all share, the more we all gain.
No, absolutely. So also in the support guides, and what's really helpful is unhelpful that every nation of our 4 nations is at a different stage, which doesn't help anybody. And I think can add certainly to confusion, but you've written it so it's relevant for each of the 4 nations. So Wales are now open. So I'm sure they are whooping and a hollering because they're now open. Scotland is still open, I believe.
Northern Ireland, 20th of November, Northern Ireland,
Friday, isn't it? So I know there was a late announcement for those guys because they were expecting to open last Friday, which just again beggars belief, because people don't seem to understand. They've got clients booked in, they have a business to run. So to have to move a week's clients is a huge task. And then England, obviously, we have everything crossed for the 3rd of December as an opening date. So you've in the guide, it's written so there's useful advice for salons that are open. And there's fantastic advice also for salons that are currently having to close due to lockdown restrictions. So for those guys that are closed, what would you pick off as the key things that they can be doing to help grow and keep them clients informed and their team?
I think 2 quick wins, and they can find all that information in the bite-sized section of the guide. One is the click and collect. We've seen so many of the hair. Hair, how do I do it? Showing to maintain their hair at home. So you can do that. You can click and collect. So you can still, use a virtual consultation to get them ready, to understand what change they're going to go. Luckily this time, we know it's only 4 weeks. So, the roots should be in a better controlled manner, shall I say. I mean, roots are for trees. I've seen this great quote in the Salon once. Roots are for trees. I love that. So they can use a virtual consultation to not only talk about what bespoke service they're going to be doing when they come back into the salon, but also to tie into the how do we help you maintain your hair to the highest level until I see you the next time. And click and collect is a small, quick win, I think.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. You also talk in there about, and you touched on the virtual consultations. How do you think that the best way, I mean, you're obviously talking to lots of your customers. How are they using that? What are they doing and how are they using it to make it work for clients? I mean, literally, we've all spent our life on Zoom since March. So how are they doing that for consultations?
I think if we're all honest, I think the first time we spoke about it and we encouraged people and we were still in lockdown level 1, people were a bit scared, should I not? And then they started to discover that as we're chatting now, we all got comfortable with the new tools and the new assets online. People are like, you know what, it's a way of connecting with the customer, supporting their mental health and well-being, because we play a role like that too. So people started trying, and what started as phone conversations to find out what they're doing, turn into video conference calls, personal one-to-ones, where I think Salons saw 3 things. First, their clients had somebody that they could trust and really speak to. It broke their routine and it showed that they cared, and allowed them through a camera to actually and dare I do this? Oh, look, actually, when I say it's just a little bit, the roots are up to here. And actually, I can book the appropriate time to give you the appropriate slot to come into the salon so I can cater for you correctly. And what I thought was very, very interesting, and that entrepreneurial spirit that hairdressers have, is a lot of people created hair routines and they took the opportunity to already book for now and rebook for the next session. So a lot of people already have their bookings for now. And at lockdown number 2, they're doing the same to create a hair care bespoke journey for each individual.
And you also talk a lot in there about keeping connected, and that's not just with clients, is it? That's keeping connected as a community and their own teams and the wider community, because a lot of the feedback we've had is that actually, and we've got lovely feedback. So lovely John Spanton sending his love. Rick Roberts, I love Monica. She is a talent and a great girl. So there you go. And Corrine, I'm going to get your surname wrong, Corrine. Thank you for the support and positive mindset. And I think people need to understand that they're not in this on their own. I mean, there is a huge, I think running a business can be quite a lonely place. And actually, when you realize that everybody else is facing the same challenges as you, I think that whole allowing people to talk and share platforms like this, ask questions, really helps with the mental health and the well-being piece.
Can we just take a deep breath on that very important point? Because I think whether you're a stylist, a senior stylist, a director, owner, I think day in, day out, we do jobs where we inhale anxiety and we exhale confidence. And I think the pace and the equilibrium is now more important than ever. And really taking time to acknowledge that sometimes it's okay not to be okay. It's okay to have doubt. No one is in this alone. And knowing that you can call someone, knowing that there's somebody at the end of another line that you can speak to is a first important step to somebody's well-being, because well-being is not about physical well-being only, it's about mental well-being too, I think.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I know there were lots of salons setting up WhatsApp groups with each other and stuff, which I think has been hugely helpful. And you're right, it is all right not to be all right. And I think people look at everybody else and think, well, they're fine. Well, actually, personally, I found this second lockdown much harder than the first. And, I'm not sure why, because we think it's going to be 4 weeks, not 12, but I think maybe the weather, it's dark nights, that all plays its part. And it's, again, not being able to work as you want to work, see family and friends as you would want to see them, and I think we're all fed up of that, but it's all right to feel like that. And I think people shouldn't pretend that they always feel fabulous about it. It's because it's not. I don't think anybody's fabulous all of the time. Everybody lives their best life on Instagram and social media. But I think it's also been really good to see, people like Sally Brooks for me were an inspiration with the stuff she was posting.
Absolutely.
She was comedy gold because she was posting real life stuff that was great, and where it hadn't gone quite so well, but that's real life.
No, and that makes us human. And I think, the world of social is great, and digital has brought about great things in the world, but we also need to be careful so people don't think everything is rosy and everything is easy. It's not. And I think allowing people to reach out and talk about it is important. And can I just take that opportunity, given that we're on the subject, to say that we're also uploading on Access this week, given the feedback, and we've seen so many people reach out, which we are happy to support and guide where possible, and direct to the right lines where possible, so you can speak to experts, people that really know about the subject line. We're releasing well-being videos, tools like the tools that we have for the hygiene and health and safety protocol. That's important to reassure and reinforce. The same for well-being. We're working with a lady called Ray Walker, and the whole principle of this is we're not telling you how to do it, but here are tools. Whether you need to take a deep breath, take a moment, ground yourself. We should be educating and spreading the word in the same way to everyone. So that will come this week for anyone, again, available to all should they wish to do so.
Yeah, and that's so important, because one size doesn't fit all with this, does it? I mean,
No.
It's taking bits that help you personally, help you manage your own stress levels and your team. So, and they'll be available this week, will they?
Yes, they will.
To anybody who wants to use them.
To anybody. So if they're in the UK, uk.l'orealaccess.com. If they're in Ireland, ie.l'orealaccess.com. And it's 100% complimentary and available to everyone in the industry.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, we've spoken about this pre-pandemic. One of the concerns I have for salons, for stylists and freelancers, and is that, we're all guilty. We go to our hairdresser and we offload. So client feels fantastic when they left, but actually they've put.
How do I deal with all that?
How does the stylist or the salon owner deal with that? Because the stylist might then go to the salon owner and pass on that. That's a real. I mean, I think as an industry going forward, that's something we really need to look at, and focus on the mental health and well-being of the teams, the individuals that are doing this. Nothing to do with pandemic. People go in and share their very darkest fears often with their hairdresser. And I think that puts a huge pressure on the individual, to feel that they're giving the right response. But also, what do they do with that information? We as an industry have a duty, I think, to be helping the salons and everyone who's working cope with that kind of pressure.
Yeah, and I think our duty really goes beyond the time they're in the chair with us,
I agree.
And sometimes it is also okay not to have the answer, but being able to listen and maybe redirect or show them a tool, a trick, or pass them on to somebody more qualified is, truly listening is a gift.
Yeah, you've mentioned that before. I mean, often people listen but don't hear. Do you know, it is actually really listening and giving your time and attention to the person you're talking to, not, I'm talking to them, but I'm also just checking something on my phone, or I'm thinking about my next client, because often what they're sharing is really important to them at that time, and they need to feel that they've got the attention of the person they're talking to. So no, it's huge. You also talked about offering services and packages. So you talked about the click and collect, which is fabulous. And also still talking about trends, because the industry is creative, and when salons reopen, people are going to want the latest color, cut, style, finish. You very much reinforce, doing a mixture of that kind of stuff too.
Yes. So, one of the feedbacks from, an ever increasing level of salons is, within the communication packs, can we talk about the importance of comms and listening, but can we also talk about, social media assets? How do I advertise myself? How do I communicate? So we have things from, helping you have your clients that you support also help you by, encouraging them to leave a review, rebooking their hair routine, from, easy, snappy, take trip, tricks like that, tips and
Yep.
tricks. That's what
Tips
I
and
meant to
tricks.
say. Tips and tricks for them to support you. So you create this report. It's also a great way to find new ways of communicating. So you have, you spoke about earlier about the research that we've done.
Yes.
We have all those assets with the percentages, so you can tell your clients that clients are reassured. We can talk about supporting you through click and collect and virtual consultations. All the assets are ready. How you help them understand your environment and advertise that to their friends by leaving a review or booking in advance. If you just want something on well-being and feeling better, here are the exercises that you can do at home, And I guess the message across what we call this business of education is, we as hairdressers and in an industry, we need to tell the world out there, we are ready when you are, and we are ready to go. And rest assured that no matter what part of the journey we're all in, we're doing it with the right measures, with the right mind frame, always personalizing, because actually we know what's happening out there. We're creative, we're progressive, we're looking at trends. We know what's happening. And so many hairdressers are like Googling, going to like Salon Emotion courses and listening to what their clients are doing and talking about the new looks that they can bring about to kind of give them a boost. And that's quite exciting to see.
It's really, and I think also what I've really liked is seeing the brands, and the brands, and you might know one or two people behind the brand, but actually letting the whole team have a voice and sharing because their personalities are just as important. And I know that's been something you guys have been advocates of.
I think your team is your brand within a brand. And you have your unique philosophy and unique way of being. We're just going to call them Hair by Monica for the sake of argument. It's really important. It's really, really important that in the environment of Hair by Monica, you give space and voice to the people that make that surrounding so special. And I think it's a reconnection to the team, and it's a way of them connecting to you, which in turn will make their clients connect to you too, and vice versa. That's brilliant. Very, very important. And giving a voice to the team is very important.
And you touched on earlier, support local. And I've seen a lot of activity from Beatrice and lots of people about this. So talk to people about that whole kind of campaign.
I think the campaign of support local, and we are seeing similar campaigns in the market in other industries, is really about that sense of community, Whether by the realities of the lockdown or by need, people are moving within bubbles. Yes. And people are beginning to realize and maybe give a bit more emphasis and importance to their surrounding. And within that community, there's something called the hair salon. And we know that where salons are in the high street or in rural areas, they elevate that sense of community, and bringing the community together is important. So the Support Your Salon Local community campaign is all about that. If I support you, whether you sell a newspaper, bread, and you support me, we can all grow and win. And that's the whole premises behind Support Your Local Salon. Yeah. Because we know that they bring to you so much more than just a haircut and a hair color. They make you feel better, and they bring together people from different realms, different backgrounds. It's very inclusive, and we need to bring people. It's a time about bringing people together.
Yeah, it is. And also support it. There are ways to support salons right now for salons that are closed, whether it's, as you say, click and collect, ordering retail, booking your appointments so they've got confidence going forward. Leave a review, gift vouchers. I mean, Christmas is coming up. Let's not forget the local businesses. Let's support our local businesses that actually to a certain extent we probably take for granted because they've always been there, and it's always been so convenient to click and collect or have delivered something. But actually support your local and there are ways of doing that now that will really help the salon business. I mean, I think our industry has been decimated this year, and but again, as you said, they're entrepreneurial, they're resourceful, and they're coming up with new ways all the time. And it's just about sharing that message wide, so everybody that actually, come on guys, we're in this together, we can all support and share. I know salons that have teamed up with local, as you say, the local butchers or the local bakers, and they're cross promoting businesses. Why not?
I think it's more than sharing the support, is act on supporting your local. If you actually, within the time frame that we've been on lockdown, really appreciated, and I think every human being has, being able to walk down the street and see a recognizable face, or go get your bread from your local, or whatever it is that you chose to do. Imagine your world without that community around you. Now is the time to not only share, but to act upon that and really support those people and those businesses.
Yeah, no, that's fab. I absolutely agree. So if you had to, I can't believe we've already done half an hour. Literally, we could keep going all day. If you had to just give top tips to a salon right now, because you are in that unique position where you see businesses at all levels, they're not just the big high street super salons. You're working with customers at all levels, from freelance right the way up. What would your tips, what would your top advice be to them from all the insight you've had, etc.?
I would say, can I say 4 things, not 3 things?
I'm not a big for 3,
but I'm going to say 4.
No, go for.
I think the first one is take a deep breath. I think number 2 is communication. The more you communicate, the more you ask questions, the more, number 3, you will be able to reassure and reinforce. Sometimes basic principles are the best. And number 4, I would say break it down. You don't have to tackle everything in one go. Take step by step on the things that will be important for you, bite-sized. You communicate, you reassure and you reinforce. Show them by action that you are ready when they are. Yeah. And reach out. Don't be afraid to reach out to people, because we're all stronger together. Yeah, it's as easy as that, I think. Well, it's not easy, but it's simpler like that, by knowing you have a community that's there to support you too.
And that whole community.
That was more than 3 or 4, I think.
It's fine. No, but it was really useful for everybody. And that, for me, the whole community thing is, we need to harness what the pandemic has given us, which is that the raising of the profile of the industry as a whole, and actually make sure that we meet the demands that the consumer puts on us now in terms of how important we are to those communities, and continue to deliver, which I'm confident salons will do that. But I think we all have a duty to keep that message going and strong.
Absolutely. I think COVID has forever changed the way we work. Yeah. So let's take the learnings and really maximize and amplify our voice, because throughout all this turbulence, the turbulence will pass. And those that have invested on education and have taken time to reset and rebuild their standards, their parameters, their ways of communicating and working with the teams, are the ones that are going to future-proof themselves.
No, that's brilliant. Thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Busy you are, so thank you very, very much. And
you're very
welcome.
Everybody,
regardless of brand allegiance, everything's available on Access for people.
Absolutely.
Go and have a look and take those, either social posts or just be guided by them, and all the information on health and well-being as well.
Thank you for your time, Jane. I really appreciate it. And hello, pleasure. Everybody. See you later.
Thank you, Monica. Take care, and I'll see you soon, I hope. Lots of love. Bye.